Donald Trump's approval rating is crashing in Georgia. His net approval in Georgia is negative 13% according to polls. The reason is simple. He promised to bring down prices, and instead he's taking away people's health care. Georgia voters are waking up to the reality that Trump's policies are destroying their lives, and they're making their anger known. Part 1. Healthcare catastrophe in Georgia. Trump and the MAGA Republicans refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. These subsidies help millions of Americans afford health insurance. Without them, insurance premiums are skyrocketing. In Georgia, people are seeing the real cost. One woman named Ursula Fulgham's daughter, Amy, was paying $474 a month for health insurance with the federal subsidies. Her monthly premium protected her as she battled brain cancer. Without the subsidies, her new premium is $3,981 a month. That's more than 7 times higher. Think about that. A young woman with brain cancer now has to pay nearly $4,000 a month for insurance. That's not affordable. That's impossible. Most people can't pay that. And it's happening all across Georgia. People are literally having to close their businesses because they can't afford health insurance anymore. Small business owners who were doing well suddenly have to shut down because Trump ended the subsidies. Trump said he would bring down prices. Instead, he's making healthcare unaffordable for Georgians. He's destroying healthcare for cancer patients. He's closing small businesses. That's the opposite of what he promised. Part 2. Georgia farmers getting aid, but uncertain. The Trump administration announced a $12 billion farm aid package. Georgia's #1 industry is agriculture, so this affects a lot of people. But here's the problem. The aid is being framed as temporary relief. Farmers are uncertain about how long the aid will last. They're uncertain about what comes next. Input costs keep rising. Farmers are already running out of equity. They're running out of ways to stretch their dollars. The American Bankers Association reports that half of U.S. farms won't profit this year. Trump's tariff policies are hurting farmers. He said he would fix trade problems, but instead he's imposing tariffs that make it harder for farmers to sell their products and buy supplies. So while Trump gives out some aid with one hand, he's hurting farmers with tariffs on the other hand. It's not a real solution. Part 3. Democrats winning in Republican districts. 2 weeks ago, there was a major flip in Georgia's House District 121. A Democrat won a seat that had been Republican, and not just barely. The previous year, the Democrat running for this seat lost by 40 points. Now the Democrat won. That's an incredible swing. It shows Georgia voters are rejecting Trump's policies and voting Democratic. This is happening in red districts. This is Republican territory where Democrats are now winning. That's a sign of disaster for Republicans heading into 2026. Georgia voters are sending a message. We don't want what Trump is offering. We're voting the other way. Part 4. Senator Warnock on the character problem. Senator Raphael Warnock from Georgia was asked about Trump's recent White House address. He said people watched it and thought, what in the world was that? The lies, the anger, the venom. Trump attacks people constantly. He attacked Senator Warnock directly, falsely claiming he was weaponizing the church against people. This is what Trump does every day. He attacks, he lies, he divides. Senator Warnock said, the people of Georgia are struggling. We have young people seeing their insurance premiums go up 7 times. We have small business owners who were doing well forced to shut down. We have farmers dealing with awful tariff policies. And while Georgians are suffering, Trump is either sleeping in cabinet meetings, watching cable news, or tweeting angry attacks at his political enemies in the middle of the afternoon. He's supposed to be the president. He's supposed to be working on solutions for people. Instead, he's tweeting. Part 5. Self-dealing and corruption. While Georgians suffer, Trump is enriching himself. In the past 24 hours, he announced a merger between his failing social media company and a private fusion energy company. His social media company loses money every quarter. It's been a disaster. But then he announces this merger and suddenly the stock price shoots up. Trump gets richer, his family gets richer. The merger requires Department of Energy approvals, so it's directly tied to federal government decisions. It's a perfect example of using the presidency to make yourself rich. When asked to grade the economy, Trump gave himself an A+++. Who was he grading? Himself. He said the economy is great for him. He's never been wealthier. His family has never had more money. That's naked corruption. That's using the office of president to make yourself rich while regular Americans suffer. Part 6. Tax cuts for billionaires. Tariffs for everyone else. The Trump regime gave massive tax cuts to billionaires and wealthy people, but they imposed tariffs on everyday goods that Americans need to buy. So billionaires get tax cuts. Regular Americans pay tariffs on everything they buy. That's a regressive policy. It takes from people who don't have much and gives to people who have everything. And those tariffs are hitting Georgia hard. They're affecting farmers. They're affecting consumers. Prices are going up because of tariffs. Meanwhile, utility bills are skyrocketing. Why? Because Trump made a deal with oil and gas companies. He said, give me $1 billion to get me reelected, and I'll give you a good return on your investment. He cut green energy off the grid. Solar and wind energy are cheaper these days because of technology and investments. But Trump pulled them off the grid to help his oil and gas donors. So Georgians are paying more for electricity because Trump promised oil and gas companies he would help them. Part 7. Speaker Johnson shuts down Congress. Speaker Mike Johnson just shut down the House and sent everyone on vacation. He did this to avoid a vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Democrats filed a discharge petition. 4 Republicans crossed over to sign it, which means a vote on extending the subsidies would have happened before January. But Johnson wanted to wait. He wanted to wait until after January 1st so the subsidies technically expire before the vote. He shut down Congress to avoid having to vote to extend health care for Americans. Senator Warnock called it shameful. He said Johnson wears his Christian faith on his sleeve. But Jesus taught that we should feed the hungry, care for the sick, and welcome the stranger. Johnson is doing the opposite. He's refusing to protect health care for sick people. He's refusing to feed hungry people. He's refusing to extend help to struggling Americans. Meanwhile, people in Georgia are opening their healthcare portals and seeing their bills double, triple, quadruple. They're facing healthcare catastrophe while Johnson takes a vacation. Part 8. The weaponization of despair. Senator Warnock warned about something serious. The Trump regime is trying to weaponize despair. They're trying to flood the zone with chaos and confusion. They're putting military boots on streets. They're trying to convince Americans we're at war with each other. They're trying to convince people there's no hope, that nothing will change, that you might as well give up. But Senator Warnock offered a message of hope. He said this is the season of light. Even in darkness, light shines through. He invoked John Lewis in the Civil Rights Movement. Lewis crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge knowing he might lose, but he kept walking. And he didn't just cross the bridge, he built it. Senator Warnock crossed that same bridge decades later and entered the United States Senate. Progress is possible, change is possible, but only if people don't give up. Only if people keep fighting. Part 9. Georgia voters are resisting. Georgia voters are showing resilience. They're not breaking. They're not giving in. They're voting against Trump. They're rejecting his policies. In a red district, they voted Democratic. They're saying no to Trump's healthcare cuts, no to his tariffs, no to his corruption, no to his chaos. Trump wanted to break the American people. He wanted to demoralize them. He wanted them to give up, but people are not giving up. Institutions have been under attack, and many capitulated at first. But the American people have shown strength and resilience. That's what's kept this country together. Part 10. The fight continues. As we head into the new year, the fight continues. Trump is pushing failed policies. Healthcare is being destroyed. Corruption is rampant. Inequality is growing. But Georgia voters are sending a message. We're not accepting this. We're fighting back. We're voting. We're organizing. We're resisting. The darkness is real. That's an honest assessment. But the light shines in the darkness. And we have to be that light. We have to keep the faith. We have to draw together and fight for a better future. The work is hard, but it's necessary. And Georgia voters are showing that the fight is worth fighting. Thank you for watching and for being here. See you on next video.